Hello, and welcome to the Deep Blue Renegade podcast, episode 16. My name is Molly, also known as the Deep Blue Renegade, and welcome. This is actually try number 2. In the middle of starting the intro or whatever, in the middle of my introduction today, my husband ended up calling me because it's sort of late. Man, whatever. Trying to put down the pop-up from my webcam. So it is a good bit darker and a good bit later than I normally record. I decided to go to knitting today and podcast after instead of podcasting before, and it's looking like now I'm gonna have to podcast Saturday mornings instead of Sunday. Or I'm just all over the place today, full of shenanigans. Oh wait, it's Saturday, November 2nd, 2013. Oh well, I have my cup of coffee. It's just been all over the place. Like, I had to restart my computer. I had to go grocery shopping after I went knitting. So the sun is set. Hopefully it's not too bad lighting wise. I have the lights on in my apartment. I'm against a white wall. I think colors aren't too bad. It's not too bad. I think those are what the colors actually are. And it's been 2 weeks since I podcast last, so let's see. I finished nothing. I did start something new, and I did end up having an adventure, which is not the sort of adventure you ever want to have. So I ended up flying out to Indiana, and I had a mini furlough. So where I work, we didn't end up getting shut down during the government shutdown, but we could have, and I was really liking the idea of being able to go back home for a couple of days and not have to worry about work so much. So I decided to, as my usual, I fly into Indiana on Thursday night, and then normally I fly back Sunday night, but this time I did Monday night instead. And I ended up getting like a really great price because it wasn't those peak travel days. So the unfortunate thing was that my connection was tight in Denver, and I watched my plane going from Denver to Albuquerque pull out of the gate without me. And so this meant I ended up losing another day of working. And I ended up having to fly from Denver to Dallas to Albuquerque in order to get in at a reasonable time because all of the morning flights out of Denver were full. So that sucked. I ended up sleeping in the airport, and that was a bad idea. It's worth the money, get a hotel room. that was, I think I ended up, what was it, so at first you're like, okay, I get to knit some more, and so I knit some more, and I watched a couple podcasts, and I spun for a while. And then I decided to go to sleep, and that didn't work very well, so I ended up staying up another 2 hours before I was, really good and tired. And then found a place to lie on the ground, because the airport benches, you can't lie on them, because they have the armrests there, and I think only children can fit in between the slats of those. So I ended up sleeping about 2 hours before the airport woke up at 4:40 in the morning. It was and then, the stupid automated thing, due to messages from the Travel Security Administration, please report suspicious activity and whatever. I can't even do it. So I think I woke up on the hour, every hour when they did that announcement. So in the future, I will get a hotel room if that happens again. Hopefully it never happens again. This is the first time it's ever happened to me. So I got a lot of knitting done, but I was stupid tired. The next day, I went into work for a few hours, not even a few hours, an hour and a half. And then I just knocked on my boss's door. I'm useless. He's good, go home. So I went back home. I picked up a package, which I'll talk about later. And then I proceeded to go to sleep for 14 hours. It's a lot of hours. I woke up at my normal time and I was good to go the next day. So, so that ended up being taking more time off than I intended, and I wouldn't recommend it. So that was my big adventure, but despite all of that extra knitting and spinning time, I still finished nothing. Oh well, such is life. What I'm wearing today is I'm wearing my featherweight cardigan, which is by Hannah Fettig. I made it in wool mice and lace in the Magnolia dark colorway, and I'm wearing my handspun hat, which I love. I'm so glad that I can wear it now. Like, I finished it in April or something like that, and by April in Indiana, it's not really cold enough for hats anymore, and I was still wearing it into May. Like, I was just so proud of how it turned out. So this was for my third hand spun, and it was, I'd say it's a worsted to sport. It's not super consistent. Like, I learned how to draft on this. It finally clicked. But yeah, so that's what I'm wearing today. All right, so I suppose I can hop into the knitting. I think I'll do the projects you've seen before first, and then I'll switch into what's new on the needles. I'm still drinking the Honduras light roast from Allegro Coffee. Almost done with it, so I'll be switching to a new coffee soon, which will be exciting. And I don't even know why I'm drinking coffee this late. I'm a punk. I'm never sleeping ever again. So, what I ended up finishing on the plane, so I would work on the Hexagon socks while the planes were taking off and landing, and I worked on my different socks while other things were happening. So this is the Hexagon pattern by Kristen Hall. I'm using Collinet Jitterbug in the October Afternoon colorway, and this is sock number 1. It's not done yet, obviously. Like, what I have right now would be a very interesting gauntlet elbow thing. Oh wait, I'm not to the elbow yet. This might be a little bit small for my arm. So this is what I have so far. And actually it's not all of what I have so far. So this is the pattern here. And I've finished knitting all of the hexagons, and what I need to do is the cuff around here and then make the toe. But I need to get my husband to stand on a ruler so I can figure out how much longer I need to make it. Because I know it's one more row of hexagons will be too much for his foot. But I need to know how much before I start doing the toe dealio there. So that's sort of why I'm in a holding pattern now. And I haven't, whatever, I think when I was talking to the spirit hasn't moved me to start the cuff or toe yet. But I did do the heel turn today on this sock. So actually so this is part of the second sock now. And what I've done so far is I've picked up some of the stitches to do the next set of hexagons, or build off the hexagons here. So this is the heel turn right now. So what I have is I knit 4 hexagons to form a cuff, and then I went straight into the heel turn, which is also comprised of hexagons. So I can hold that up there. So it's and I just think the heel turn is really fun. So so I'm getting ready to do another circle of 4 around the heel turn, and then I'll be good to go, and I can head towards the toe, or I can keep building off the cuff. It really doesn't matter what order you put things together, as long as you're building off of the previous hexagons you've made. Because you don't want to seam these. Like, if this was seamed instead of picked up stitches, I wouldn't do it. And it's been enjoyable to knit little hexagons. I've memorized the hexagon pattern, so that's what makes it really easy and portable and stuff like that. So I'm still working away on it. It's still enjoyable. Yeah, and life continues on. I also got some time in on my simplicity. So So part of the reason why I decided to podcast after knitting was I got to finish a sleeve. The pattern calls for just knitting and binding off in stockinette, but I really didn't want a rolled sleeve, so what I did was I did a 1x1 twisted rib, and then I actually put the body back on needles again, because really I just needed to do a sleeve to break up the boringness of the body, because it is just stockinette with an increase every row, so it just keeps longer and longer and longer. So this is Simplicity by Mary Annarella. And my mother-in-law, I got to meet her at Rhinebeck. Isn't that so cool? Apparently, she is a charming and wonderful person, according to her, so we ended up getting to talk a few times this week. She couldn't keep her mouth shut about Rhinebeck, so she didn't want to wait until the next time I saw her to talk about it, which is fine. And it's coming together. I don't know, I'm not sure what priority that this ends up having. We are having a Cal right now in the Deep Blue Renegade podcast group for Simplicity. So if you want to join in, it's fine. It's November now. I was thinking I was going to be done with this a while ago. Whatever. C'est la vie. Such is life. And so the Simplicity is whatever, trying to fix some of the issues I have with the featherweight, which is the no closure, fairly short. So I'm hoping that this ends up being whatever my favorite put on anything sort of sweater. And so it's coming together. I'm back on the body. When I measured today, I was at 7.5 inches, and I think I need 11 before I start doing the short rows, which we'll see how it goes. I'm not even really sure how many short rows I'm doing. I haven't read too far ahead in the pattern. And so here's what I've got with whatever, a lovely little sleeve. It's basically the same length as these sleeves. Like, this is the perfect sleeve length for me. Like, if I have full length sleeves, I just push them up. So 3/4 sleeves, I don't feel the need to move them. And this is what it's going to be when it grows up. My careworn, torn little pattern. So, yay, exciting. And if you want to join in on the Cal, you're more than welcome to. I haven't posted pictures. Maybe I should take some pictures tonight. Such is life. And that means that I'm on to my last work in progress. I don't even know why I have 3. I do know why I have 3 right now. So I ended up getting an ear burn last night because one of my friends and sock knitters is getting ready to release a pattern. So this is the, so she ear burned me to test knit. And I ended up seeing this, Sunday night? So right after I had podcast 2 weeks ago. So this is, you'd think I'd buy some sock blockers. Maybe I'll ask someone to get me sock blockers for Christmas. So this is the little Bonbons, and I did talk, so this is by Revi Shabat, and she is a complete sweetheart, and I think she's secretly me. We're just really similar. So this is the pattern that I have so far. Let's see if I can actually, I'm trying to, so what it has is it has this really massive cable motif on the front that basically wraps nearly all the way around your leg. And the cable is quite ridiculous, which is why it when she had posted in the group as whatever her initial thing, I was just like, ooh. And then I opened up the chart, this chart's ridiculous. It turns out it's not too ridiculous. There are 3 basic pattern motifs, and then you're just chunking them in. So once you do the 3 types of patterns, then the chart isn't actually too bad. and found a couple errors, so it's gonna definitely be good to go once we finally get around. And someone's already finished the test knit. What I think's really cool is that the heel flap, or try to rearrange this so you can see, the heel flap is really pretty, so there's a cable in the back that makes it look just so. And what I did today is I finished the heel turn, so it actually has an eye of partridge on the heel turn. And this yarn is actually, I ended up getting it for free because I was willing to untangle the mess. So this is Vice yarns in the Sockalicious space, and it is a one-of-a-kind colorway, which I called Crush Berries, because it's, I think that's coming up on the screen, right? So it has like some lighter things with like pops of red and purple and blue, and it's just gorgeous. I'm assuming it's an over dye, and completely totally scrumptious. I'll laugh a little bit later. So it's coming together. I'm finishing off the first of the big diagonal cable things, and then on the instep there's a smaller diagonal cable thing, which is a little bit different. And then this will be done. I'm thinking about giving these to my mom. So when I called my mom and asked her what she wanted for Christmas, she needed nothing, which I think is just her way of whatever getting me. So I need to call my dad and ask my dad what it is that she wants. So I might end up giving these to my mom because she is more girly than I, and and this is an MCN base, so it's actually pretty scrumptious. And it's a little bit rough getting it over, getting it on, but just because it is so ridiculously cabled. Actually, I'll take off my sock. This might have been the easier way to show it off. So it does take a little bit to pop it over my heel with that cable, because cables do pull in. So when you're doing a cabled sock, if it's a case where you always knit a 64 stitch sock, if there are a lot of cables like this, then you really do want to have cables pull in. And these cables are basically every other row there's a cable, and sometimes every row there's a cable on this pattern. So it's really tight. Or it's just really solid. It doesn't have the stretch that you would normally have. So this is what it looks like on my foot. And so it did take a little bit to get it over. So my mom and I have very similar size feet, so I think that this would work really great for her. And they're just cool. I don't know. If she doesn't want them, then I can take them, whatever. What is it? Let me grab the ball of yarn. So this is half of it. I ended up splitting it into, so any leftovers I have can just get chunked easily into my leftover sock bin. And it is scrumptious and delicious. So if like Vice isn't maybe one of the better known indie dyers, but she is really sweet. So if you're looking for some interesting sock yarn, she actually specializes in sport weight sock yarn, so she does like stripies and sport weight and stuff like that, and it's really cool. So coming together. I try to work on it, a little bit every night, and I've been only using the charts in the electronic form instead of printing it out on paper because I don't have a printer at home. Oh, and the socks I'm wearing today are the Estonian heel socks, which I translated from, which I translated because I really, really wanted to knit them, and everyone at knitting was like, "Oh my gosh!" So they're really very striking, and I don't know, they just look so cool on the foot. I don't know, so it's good fun. Yeah, so Little Bonbons will be released fairly soon. It's just a matter of, I guess, everyone in each size getting done with it, or getting done with the first sock. So I shouldn't have too much of a problem getting a sock done. But since I do only have the charts in electronic form, it's something I only work on when I either have my notepad with me or I'm at home. So it works out. And that is all of the knitting works in progress. I did no work on the fleece this week. I was playing a lot of catch up after the airport bondoogle, so such is life. But I did end up getting a decent chunk done of the singles, and I have this loose bit coming off. So last night was the Slow TV from Norway. So they were showing a group of 7 people who are trying to get the world record for going from sheep to sweater. And they could only use hand-powered things, like no electronics whatsoever. So they had a guy who sheared the sheep, and then they were spinning, like they all had spinning wheels and they were all spinning, and then they started to knit. And I came in around hour 5, so, or somewhere around there. They ended up not even being close. So the world record, I think, was like 5 hours and 30 minutes or something like that. Or maybe it was even 4 hours and 45, I don't know. And they came in more at 8.5, so I ended up watching till they were done, so it was really late. And while I was watching, I was spinning. So this ended up getting a lot of work, and then I was spinning in the airport. So then you get to meet all sorts of interesting people spinning there. Like, knitting in the airport seems to be like, leave me alone. But spinning, like, people are fascinated, they have no clue what it is, so it invites questions and conversation, which is cool. So, I'm not even halfway done with the first 3 ounces. I weighed last night, and have 56 grams left in my ball. I feel like I've been spinning and spinning and spinning, but whatever. Out of, like, 89, so this is about, I don't know, 33 grams. But it's coming together very nice. Sorry, I can never really. So right now you can see all sorts of colors peeking through. So there's the orange, the teal, and the purple are all showing right now because I've had a couple short color runs while spinning. And this is Fat Cat Knits in mixed or in variegated BFL. And it's still spinning wonderfully. I'm spinning it really thin because it's drafting like a dream. And I want to knit socks out of this. So when people are like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "I'm spinning yarn for socks." or they're asking, "What's it going to be when it's done?" It's like, "Socks." And then they look at me a little funny. It's like, yeah, whatever. I don't feel like explaining too carefully. So, come together, but obviously it's a long labor. And the plan is to Navajo ply it someday when I'm done spinning it. Forever from now. I don't know. Let's do a ball check. So, oh, I lost that a little bit. Whatever. I'm almost done. I'm almost to the next section of, so I had 6 ounces. I split it all in half. And then I weighed it and then made sure that everything was balanced and whatnot. So this is ball number 1, which is the heavier ball. I figured I might as well get it over with. I figure I tend to spin thinner as I spin, and this is ball number 2, so they appear to be the same size. I didn't want to do ball check, did I? Oh well. So definitely coming together. It's just, I wish it was coming together faster. But what was it? Things only get done when you work on them, and I haven't been working on spinning a lot, so that's why a lot of spinning hasn't been getting done. I was hoping that I had a lot of spinning this week, but yeah, whatever. And that's spinning for you. So I ended up having some Stashquisitions this week. As you guys may have noticed, I don't tend to buy a lot. I don't tend to have something to show you guys every week. So it tends to be pretty special when I end up deciding to get something. So I had I had two friends come into town not this Sunday, but last Sunday. So after I podcasted. So one of them was like a groom's dinner or wedding, so we had lunch and got to chat and catch up and stuff like that. The other one is actually a friend from Ravelry. So she's in a couple of groups that I'm in, and she was in town because her parents live in New Mexico. So we ended up going to the yarn store, and they were having a sale on Malabrigo. So I ended up deciding to, and so it was like 20% off. So I'm like, yeah, that's probably worth it, because I'm never in town on the days when the yarn store has their 30% off sale. So I decided that was going to be worth it. So I got Malabrigo Rios in the Archangel colorway, and the lighting just really doesn't do it justice today. And I've always thought that Archangel is one of their prettiest colors. You can see some of the light in there. So I just think Archangel is one of the prettiest colorways that Malabrigo comes out with. And, what is it? And, yeah, so I decided to finally go for it and try it out. So I got a skein of this as a part of our little wandering around. And so I'm really happy with what I got. I'm planning on probably doing a hat or some sort of thing like that with it. And like by the time I finally got to the yarn store, the Malabrigo was pretty picked over. So I was looking at lace because I had really enjoyed using the Malabrigo lace for my daybreak shawl. And then I decided to go with this because I think this is pretty versatile as far as things go. So that was that. And then we ended up going to Old Town, which is basically where Albuquerque's city center when they were founded way back when in like the 1500s or something like that. So there's a lot of history here. This is an old part of the country, like much older than you would have assumed. So I ended up getting these earrings. So what? Let me show it like that. I don't even know if you guys can really see. So they're big, but they're not. So what they have is that around the plaza they have Indians, Native Americans. They call themselves Indians, so I'm gonna call them Indians because I call them Indians anyway. Sitting out, and they have their jewelry, so it's sterling silver and a lot of turquoise. So I decided to end up going with this. So this is Sleeping Beauty turquoise and silver, and then the pieces of turquoise themselves are quite small, so it's delicate but it's big, and it seemed to be something which like I could wear dressed up or at work or in a t-shirt, and it wasn't going to be a big deal. Because that's part of the problem with jewelry, is that sometimes it's just way too formal for me. So I think that these are pretty cool. and I had wanted to go to the plaza and buy stuff from Indians. Because I think it's really cool. I don't know. And then I got one more thing. So they're like one of the places we went to was this pottery shop, and they had pottery from the 4 main tribes of Indians around New Mexico. and it was just amazing. It was especially the Navajo style was just completely breathtaking. I wasn't ready to put down that sort of money for pottery, but I'm definitely going to be taking my husband there when he comes out, just because it was so really cool. So there's like a mixture of like knickknacks, fine art, and like galleries and stuff and whatever things. I don't know, like New Mexico only sorts of things. And so we were walking through and looking at all these different things. And I decided to get this Christmas ornament. So this is from an artist co-op. And what I think is so cool is that so it has the turquoise, which was what drew me initially to it. But then it has this this hand painted design all around it that's just really awesome. Just point blank. So the thing is that for Christmas every year, my mom gets us an ornament. And I looked at this ornament here and I'm like, that's perfect for my mom. So I'm going to be carrying this on the plane when I fly out for Thanksgiving. And I just think it's really awesome. So I was really glad to find that, because that was just really cool. And then I have some other interesting acquisitions which were from today. So Celeste, which I don't know if I've talked about Celeste before, but she was the one who ended up giving me the fiber and spindle kit, which I ended up giving away for the Learn How to Spin contest. So she came in today. So apparently last week was the yarn swap and sale, which I missed because I was in Indiana. But she ended up bringing the stuff that she still wanted to get rid of, but then hadn't. So I ended up picking up a few things from them. So the first thing that I got was this cookie A pattern. There we go. Which is, what is it? So this is the Raven Swirl Socks. So this is going to be more of a surprise than anything. The colorway is so dark and variegated, it's sort of hard to see the pattern, but I really adore Cookie A, so I figured it was worth a shot to get this pattern. I also picked up a copy of Nutkin, which is a pattern that I've been intending to knit. So that is, it's a free pattern, but the cool thing is that it's already printed out, so then I don't have to go through the bother. So I was intending to knit it anyways. And then the other thing that I ended up getting then is this hat. So this is a Bohus style hat. What's the name of it? The Northern Lights Bohus hat. So one of the knitters, Gail, was looking out for me, and yeah, so it'll be interesting. I'll probably have to look it up on Ravelry. What is it? I will probably have to look it up in Ravelry and see what it looks like in colors, but I definitely have yarn and scraps and stuff that would be really great for this. So that's exciting. And the last thing I ended up getting was that Celeste had, she put out the pile of yarn that she hadn't sold or gotten rid of yet. And then I saw this. So, I ended up bringing them over here. So this is trekking. And what's really cool about trekking, the really cool thing about trekking is the way they do it's a 3-ply sock yarn, but every ply is a different color. So it makes for really, really cool looking socks. They look hand spun. And the other thing about trekking is it's a German wool, and it has stood the test of time. I have one pair of trekking socks. Here they are, trekking socks. I've had these socks for I think I knit these socks within the first 6 months of learning how to knit socks. So they still have my original vanilla sock pattern. And they are as nice is the day I knit them. And we were all talking. It turns out that she was wearing her trekking socks, and another person, Brooke, she was talking about how her husband loved this particular colorway so much he had to special order it in order to make him a pair of socks out of the trekking. So this has the imaginative color of 91, and I'm excited, but I laughed a little bit because it's pretty much the same as the socks I'm knitting right now. So trekking XXL is amazing, and so it's not the softest, but it really holds true to the idea that German sock yarn is the toughest, best sock yarn out there. It's just gonna last forever, and it's a case where you don't care if you throw it in the washing machine because it wears like iron. So I'm really excited about this, and I got it for a steal, and so yep, excitement. I don't know. I'm so excited that it was like she had thrown it out and like, ooh, trekking. So it's really been sort of a purpley, reddish sort of week this week. For whatever reason. Okay. So that was all of the Stashquisitions this week. So 3 patterns, 2 balls of yarn. It's probably going to put me behind as far as the stash graph is concerned. Well, whatever. Such is life. And there was one more thing that I want to talk about before I got to the end matter. Coffee. And that is about a big lifestyle change that I'm making. So I had sort of come to the realization that the way that I had been eating had been an inverted food pyramid, where I would eat, where mostly I was eating animal products and not eating plants. So at some point, in discussion somewhere, what is it? It was something where someone was talking about how they were testing out the vegetarian options for their son's bar mitzvah. And I'm like, oh, like that's interesting. Are you a vegetarian? And she's like, sometimes. And then I'm like, oh, I've been thinking about that because I had heard about eat vegan before 6, and she's like, yes, exactly that's what I'm doing. So I ended up, and so then I asked her, like, what do you think? And she's like, I'm really enjoying doing this. So I was like, okay. I really adore the author, which is Mark Bittman, and he's a food writer for the New York Times. And so as much as I adore him, he's obviously promoting his book. So to hear from someone else that they had really liked what it was, you know what, I'm just going to do it. So I went to Amazon, and I got this book, which was the package I picked up. So this is the book, which is Eat Vegan Before 6. And the idea is it's a way, like, I don't know if it turns out it's like the gimmick basically is that you should eat more plants, and the easiest way to make room for plants is to not eat meat. But obviously for people who love food like myself, bacon, can't give up bacon. That this is a way, it's a compromise. So it's a way of making more room in your diet for plants and having it so that after 6 p.m. you eat how you would normally eat. So that would be the case of bacon, beef, cheese, milk, all that other stuff. But for breakfast and lunch, you have a very grain-forward and vegetable-forward and fruit-forward sort of diet. So what's nice about this is that, like, I had been interested in the idea, and I definitely realized that I have the inverted pyramid. I would eat cheese and eggs and milk and meat, and then sometimes an afterthought would be bread and vegetables and fruit and stuff like that. So I read through it, and today was the first day that I started to do this. And it's sort of the case where, like, it's something where your results are better if you adhere to it more strictly, but there are some things, like, I don't want to give up, like half and half in my coffee. Like, I looked at the variety of whatever, like almond milk and oat milk and coconut milk and all that other stuff. I wasn't ready for that yet, so I still bought half and half this week. But the idea is that by making 2/3 of what you eat, definitely vegetables and fruit, or whatever, sorry, plants. Plants is an easier way of putting it. So whole grain, fruits, vegetables, minimally processed stuff. Being able to cook in bulk so that then you have an easy way of doing lunches and breakfast and stuff like that. So I'm excited. I did my first recipe out of the book, and I'm gonna finish off the second recipe in the book. And it was really tasty. Like, I was leery, but I'm thinking that this is gonna be a good thing. My husband, when he called, was like, I'm not sure if I'm ready to do this or not. So hopefully I can do it too. The other thing that I got, because the Eat Vegan Before 6 book is more geared towards people who don't normally cook, is I also got this book, which is How to Cook Everything Vegetarian, which is by the same author. I've been wanting to get this book for a while now, because the Eat Vegan Before 6 book is geared towards one-pot things and simpler things, but this is complicated, because what I need in cooking is a challenge. So, and this, I really like the way he does his recipes. He's tries to keep things simple but make things delicious. So yeah, so I'm excited. I haven't even flipped through this yet, but it should be lots of good information and ideas and stuff to keep things interesting. So I'm not going vegan, I'm just going vegan for breakfast and lunch. And it's something like, you know, for example, like one of the things that he suggests is that if you really can't do without eggs and bacon, for example, on the weekend, like, have eggs and bacon on the weekend in the morning, and then just make sure you have a vegan dinner. It's just the case where you're making more room for good, wholesome food at the expense of whatever foods that you eat probably far more than you should. Because most Americans eat twice as much protein as they need. So to get rid of a large source of protein, you're not hurting yourself any. So, and I'll keep you guys updated on how things are going. The idea being, it's not like a diet. It's not like, what is it? It's not like I'm trying to lose weight. I'm just trying to eat healthy. And it seemed to be, I was in a cycle where I couldn't eat healthy, if that makes any sense. So it's more like a lifestyle change. It's more like, let's try and keep things in a whatever, in a healthier way and make it easier, because I had no clue what in the world I would eat for breakfast or lunch and easy things to do. So that was the main thing there, was getting ideas on how to start. So, excitement. I think the plan tonight is to, what is it? I'm planning on roasting an acorn squash with maple syrup and bacon. That should be really, really good. I'm excited. Make a nice big salad and stuff like that. So it's not like I don't like vegetables, I just forget about them. So if I don't have fallback options, I can't forget about them. So yeah, so that's the big and exciting news there. And now I can get into the end matter. So it seems likely that I'll be recording next week. but I'll be recording on Sunday. My husband's coming out to visit for whatever, our every 2 weeks. But since I'm not traveling, that's 12 hours of my life I have back. I also got plane tickets for Thanksgiving. I picked out some really, really awesome flights, like 5 hours there, 5 hours back. Oh man. It's hard to believe sometimes once you travel enough, once you get what your criteria needs to be in order to be happy. So for me, that's minimizing how much time I'm spending in airport terminals. So hopefully, fingers crossed, everything goes smoothly with that, because I don't want to spend the night in the airport ever again. So looking like, so today's the 2nd, 9th, so I'll be recording again November 10th, and probably the week after that. Yeah, so that should be fun, exciting, yay. Oh, I had completely forgotten to talk about this. I pulled it out. I guess this week's gonna be a long episode. But I'm thinking that the next thing that's gonna be on my needles is my Wool My Set lace kit. So what the pattern it comes with is called Walk on the Moon, and it is from Arlene's World of Lace. And it came with this spiffy little bag. Whatever. And then what it comes with is 3 100-gram balls of lace. So that's the whatever the lace bag gimmick. Oh no, that got caught in the zipper. Oh, look at the vibrance of that green. Oh my gosh. So this is color kit number 7. I don't know if I'm going to switch out one of the colors for my Chim colorway. We'll see how it goes. I'm pretty sure I'll have at least 100 grams left over of that. But like it's a really pretty colorwork shawl, and I really want to get to it. So we'll see what happens if I end up switching out maybe this green for, excuse me. So doing this as a kit, or this, or something. I'm not even really sure. This green's gorgeous though. Can you even? It might be too dark. It's definitely completely dark now. Whoopsies. So I think that this is going to be the next thing I put on. Because, well, I don't know, like, I'm in the mood for a shawl. and this will be a truly and completely epic shawl. So, that is what's coming up. So, let's see. I think that's everything then. Recording again the 11th. And I hope you guys have a lovely week. And I'll see you guys soon. So take care. Bye-bye.